So this is my April update. So I had this whole sophisticated plan, right, to publish new posts and episodes every single week. And then our internet broke. The pass closed due to snow. The creek flooded and flooded us in. And frogs fell from the sky. All that's true except for the frog part. So our internet is actually still broke over a month later. It either straight up doesn't work or it's crippled, like I can email or text only. Um, so that was kind of frustrating, but about, a week or two into this non-consensual internet detox, I thought, right, this is actually kind of nice. So the internet is for losers, I quit. Now, obviously, well, not obviously, but I don't mean I quit using the internet totally. I mean, I think I'm going to do an experiment in April, which is I'm going to quit using the internet at home. So eventually the internet here is going to get fixed, I assume. But my plan is to pretend that it doesn't come back on. I'm going to pretend like we just don't have internet here. So my rule is I can go to the internet. I can have as much internet as I want. I just can't have it here. But because of where I live, that means I've got to either catch the shuttle, walk, or ride my bike 25, 27 miles, something like that, to the library to get the internet. And so that is kind of my plan. I keep getting, I get some flack for this. People keep saying things like, hey, Tyler, that will be very inconvenient. And I'm like, well, that's sort of the point. I'm not optimizing for easy. I'm optimizing for transformation and interesting. And rarely is worthwhile transformation convenient. So, run towards inconvenience is kind of my MO. I've had easy access to the internet since I was like 12. And I'll bet that being 25 miles or so away from the internet will change me somehow. I don't know exactly how, but for better or worse, it'll be interesting, and that's enough of a reason for me. So I'm going to have a go at it. My last experiment along these lines, my satanic digital Sabbath, where am I? Yeah, my satanic digital Sabbath, it went well. I really enjoyed it. I did this early, I think it was December 2021, I believe it was. That was when my rule was I couldn't use any screen, like anything with a screen. I couldn't use internet connected or otherwise except on Saturdays, I think it was. So I only had one day of using digital technology, and I really loved that. But I had some things to do at the time that required the use of internet. But there's a difference between this experiment that I'm doing and that experiment, which is that, if I needed to do something on the internet during my satanic digital Sabbath, I could just wait it out. I'll be like, oh, it's only 3 days till Saturday. I'll just wait it out and do it then. With this experiment, I can have as much internet as I want, but I've got to go get it. I've got a somewhat significant barrier, and I've got to move myself to go get it. And so I think that'll be interesting. So basically what I'm going to do is, like, while I'm up here at Fort Dirtbag, in my fortress of solitude, I will write, I'll produce podcasts and things like this. And then I'll edit them, I'll get them packaged, and then when I go into town, then I'll upload them. That's the plan. So I'm excited about that. It's not great for obviously having, like, recording conversations with people. I don't have a good answer for that. Some of my thoughts are like, well, maybe I'll make an exception just for that. Just like, set up calls with people, do that if and when we get our internet fixed. Maybe it's like I'm only, I only do in real life, like when I'm physically with someone and we can record together. That's not ideal, obviously, because I've had some really wonderful conversations with people over the internet. So I don't have a great solution for that. I'll think of something. Right. All right. On to project update. So project TTM 5K. This is my project where I'm trying to spend only $5,000 or less in a year period. My current trailing 12-month cost of living is $7,305 or something like that. So that is going well. My the very last category of expense that I'm getting under control, it's called education in my spreadsheet. It just means books. I've spent like $100 on books a month since forever. I buy used books. If I'm not near a used bookstore, I buy them on thriftbooks.com or abooks or wherever. But I now finally have a library card, access to a library where I can check books out, which is a long story. So I expect my education category to drop by an order of magnitude, which I'm excited about. So all that's left in terms of expenses is food, which for me is around $150, and shelter, which is also around $150. But that shelter includes clothing, like the materials I bought to sew my own bivy bag, for example, as well as anything else that I buy from the hardware store for my builds. Project local solar punk handyman. So I concluded my handyman gig with a neighbor. This is a neighbor that I was, over the last 6 months, we repaired a pond, we fixed a collapsed patio roof, we built a garden enclosure, we installed irrigation, stacked a lot of wood, just did a bunch of stuff over at his place. And then it was enjoyable, to earn a little money while working a few hours a day, a few days a week. But I'm not going to do anything like that ever again, probably. It was too many hours and too little autonomy. So it was a neat idea in theory. I'm glad I gave it a go, because my idea was, hey, I can earn enough money to fund my lifestyle just living up here and helping neighbors out and things like that, which was true, but I didn't enjoy it enough, and it took too much away. Also, if you read my blog post, self-sabotage, self-sovereignty and sabotage, self-sabotage, and I don't remember which one, but that one, if you read that one, that kind of explains why other people's projects is kind of like crack cocaine for me, so I just need to get away from it. So that's really why I'm not going to do anything like that again. So I have another project with for neighbors. That's a PV system upgrade. The light is at the end of the tunnel on that one, particularly now that I've freed up some more time. I mostly just need to get everything installed and wired together. Yeah, I massively underestimated how much work the project was going to be, but I've learned a lot and I have pure autonomy on it. So doing the work has been really fun and completely tolerable. It's also the biggest PV system I've ever done. It's 5,000 watts of production and 27,000 watt hours of storage. It's 1,000 amp hours at 24 volts. Which feels kind of cool in a Tim Taylor Ben from 5000 sort of way. So I will have been very glad to have done that project, and I'll also be glad when it's done. I've been letting it drag on too long. Project have adventures and do interesting fun stuff, because we're all going to die soon and nothing really matters anyways. So my PCT hike. So just to clarify, my permit is to start near here, so not at the border of Mexico. It's to start near here, start at the base of the Sierras. And my plan was just to walk through the Sierras to the middle of Oregon or something and do it. So there's an acronym in through hiker lingo, which is LASH, which stands for long ass section hike. So I wasn't going to hike through the whole thing. I was just going to do a section hike. But goodness gracious, there is a lot of snow up in those Sierras right now. So, if I leave here when my permit says I leave, which is May 30th, I'll just walk straight into a wall of snow. And if I wait it out, the runoff could be super crazy. It's maybe not really the shindig I had in mind. I'm not super psyched on snow, and I'm also not super psyched on dying in a rushing river. So I'm considering giving up my permit to someone else, someone who's psyched to deal with that, and doing something else. The first thing that comes to mind is filling the panniers of my bike with climbing equipment and just dirtbag climbing up the east side, and kind of having a fun go of the summer in that way, a little bit more autonomous. Some people plan their through hikes around quitting their jobs, right? They've got it, they kind of make a hole in their lives to do the PCT. And so if it's a big snow year, they're kind of in a jam. It's kind of their one shot, or it's a big deal for them to make it happen. But for me, I have a lot of flexibility, so I can kind of call an audible and be like, yeah, I don't know, man, I'll try next year. And maybe I'll make someone's day who wasn't able to get a permit. So that's the deal on that. Project Shipshape. So I've maintained, an averagely organized and averagely clean space my whole life. My desks, in particular, have always been piled high with stuff. It's been like chaos. And while introspecting on the topic of self-regard, it occurred to me that a messy space might serve as a signal that I'm only worth, a messy space. And that a very clean space might serve as a signal that I'm worthy of a clean space. It's a small thing, but I thought it worth an experiment. So I started a week ago. I started with the inside of Serenity. I've been keeping Serenity really picked up, really clean. And this coming month, I'll add like the yard, the grounds around Fort Dirtbag, and also the interior of the studio, which is a little bit of a mess. Has always been a little bit of a mess. Already I feel better, more formidable, something like that, just from having a cleaner space. And my sink in Serenity is copper. And it really looks good when you keep it clean. You scrub the patina off of it. Project Write a Book. Manuscript is coming along well. I went through a first round of advanced reader feedback, which spurred a ton of revisions, cuts, additions, reformulations. If you're one of my advanced readers, thank you. I got an enormous amount of value out of every single person's feedback. I'm really enjoying writing it. The thing sucks less and less every day. And I plan to either finish it before the end of May, or if I don't feel like it's done then I'll let it rest while I go walk about, and then finish and publish it when I get back. Either way, I plan on taking some notebooks with me to begin longhand work on my next writing project. Project Dry 2023. So, I don't remember if I wrote this on, if I've mentioned this, but I'm not drinking alcohol this year. It'll be my first full year without drinking alcohol. So, I haven't had a drink since December 31st. And man, what a good choice. I feel great. And I just wanted to mention, I haven't listened to it, but I know a lot of people on the forum say they listened to this Huberman podcast episode on the effects of alcohol, and they just quit drinking. Powerful. I haven't listened to it yet. I don't know what he says about it, but it sounds legit. So I think my rule is that at the conclusion of my dry year, if I afterwards want to have a drink, my rule is just going to be I have to listen to that podcast first. As things stand, I'm just enjoying being a non-drinker too much to put much thought into it, so I don't really feel the need to listen to it. For many years, I thought that the most healthy amount of alcohol for me, for myself specifically, was something like 2 to 4 drinks every fortnight. And that was a mental health thing. Like, I noticed that it helped pull me out of taking myself too seriously. I'd have a couple drinks and I'd have this like, oh right, nothing matters and everything is beautiful moment. And I'd be good for another couple weeks. But it turns out it's really difficult to drink only 2 to 4 drinks every 2 weeks. There's just a lot of areas of life in which 0 is a lot easier to attain than a very little bit. So, at any rate, 3 months into 2023, and I'm finding other ways of reminding myself not to take things so seriously. Headbanging to Monomarth for 15 minutes does the trick quite reliably, as does sitting outside and listening to birds. And all I have to do is catch like a half-second glimpse of one of our local little kangaroo mice scampering around to get a complete recharge on the mad beauty of existence. And I'm good. So, all right, that is my update for April. Stay well. Thanks.